A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Tonight we are putting the spotlight on Amagi, a cloud-based media tech company. Amagi pioneered a unified cloud solution that enabled broadcasters to move their operations to the cloud, overcoming geographical constraints and enabling global expansion for content owners. To find out more, I'll be in conversation with Mr. Baskar Subramanian, CEO and co-founder of Amagi. Welcome to the show, Baskar.
Pleasure as well, mine as well.
So to begin with, give us an overview on the future of cloud-based content distribution. Where are the biggest opportunities today?
So fundamentally, if you look at it, Ishita, the big change that's happening in the industry today is that cloud is becoming a reality in all our different industries that we've seen. Media is no big difference, fundamentally. Lots of our customers are starting to modernize their workflows, the operations that they do. If you look at it, when we as consumers look at content, we're obviously getting it on our television devices or on our phones, where we're actually accessing content today. If you look at it, the change that's happened in the industry over the last 4 years is that we've all moved to streaming, which essentially means that we've moved from cable and satellite platforms to start consuming content through internet and IP networks. What this change has done is the factory at the back end is transforming for our customers, who are the large enterprise broadcast customers. And what we're seeing is their ability to respond to the dynamic environment in the market is driving them to take decisions of moving to a software-centric, virtualized, cloud-based approach of solving problems so that they can become a pay-as-you-go model, be dynamic to the changes in their climate and the business that changes. For example, if you have new sports rights that you buy, you can spin up a complete sports operations on the cloud pretty much in a matter of weeks, if not in days, instead of the older idea of taking years for you to kind of procure hardware and do that. That's the big change that's happening. And we're seeing this across the industry. It's a singular change that's happening. In the next 5 to 7 years, we truly believe there'll be most of the broadcasters and enterprise customers in the world would have done a transformation to this new world of cloud-based media operations across the globe.
So Baskar, the broadcast industry was once dominated by expensive and legacy systems. Amagi pioneered a unified cloud solution. How do you assess the impact of cloud transformation in media? What are the key factors that have driven its widespread adoption?
I think it's in a very early phase of the transformation journey that's happening. It started with the assumption of the business dynamics changing, which drove this particular need for the TV networks and the broadcasters worldwide to look for solutions which are not very expensive. Think about the time when TV channels have to bet on almost 5 years worth of capex much ahead of time. So the business plans in those days was very static. They could afford to run a 5 to 7 year sort of a business plan, and they could actually buy the capital expenditure ahead of time. In this day and age, as the world moves, streaming comes in, with all the new AI innovations that we're seeing, I don't think anybody has a good idea of what the next 5 years is going to look like for everybody from a crystal ball standpoint. That is, the uncertainty in terms of the environment is driving our customers to look for a more flexible business operating environments, and cloud is starting to become an important part of that environment for our customers. That's the biggest driver that's happening today in the business.
Now, Amagi has also powered real-time telecasts of major global events like the US elections and the Olympics. What are the biggest technological and operational challenges in delivering such large-scale live events? How do you ensure reliability?
So it's a very complex operations, right? So what we see, if you want to do any sort of top tier large live events, which are viewed by more than hundreds of millions of subscribers who are actually watching the content, it's a distinctly hard problem to solve. And the problem starts with the point of what we term as glass to glass, the point where a camera captures the feed of a player or an event that's happening, till the point you watch it on your television set or the phone. There is almost close to about 50 plus steps through which the content is passing through. The video, all of this has to happen at the lowest latency, or what we call the delay in the system. Imagine a scenario where you're watching a match in the stadium and you're watching a match at home. You want it to be at the lowest latency across the system. You don't want a match where already tweets have come that the wicket has gone or the over is complete or somebody's won the game yet, and yet wait for another 30 seconds or to a minute before you actually see it on your television. That kind of kills the whole experience from a sports standpoint. So the biggest thing that we had to work on was what we call low latency capabilities. From the point a signal hits the camera to the point where we get it to the television set, we had to create systems which will allow us to kind of take that signals in the fastest possible fashion, in the highest quality, and with the highest reliabilities. And reliabilities is, we are talking about 5-9 reliabilities in our business, which means it's 99.999% reliability, which essentially means it's a very punishing responsibility, if you will, in terms of having that sort of reliabilities in the system. For example, in these sort of marquee events and scenarios that we work with, we do what's called multi-redundant systems across different regions that we do. For example, in the US, when we run it across West Coast and East Coast, 2 different cloud data centers running the capabilities, exactly mirroring the same thing, same event, so that even if one goes down, we can switch to the other pretty much seamlessly. So it's expensive, but it actually provides you the best reliabilities and redundancies possible. It's a very deep tech engineering problems, which kind of intersects between cloud and video. And Amagi has been one of the maybe the only company in the world which has these sort of capabilities, which has been built on the cloud and at scale. And that's been a big progression for us as a company over the last few years.
So Baskar, the theme of our show this season is powering entrepreneurs for the global stage. You have a presence all over the world, including APAC. What unique opportunities do you see in APAC and Western markets that India can perhaps learn from?
I think largely, if you look at it, is any new technology adoption has to go through a cyclical curve, thanks to a couple of things, right? One is the ability of the infrastructure on the ground, the telco infrastructure that exists. On top of it is the viewer preferences, the economics of the business itself. In our business, for example, if you watch any content is kind of monetized through 2 things. One is subscription, which means we as consumers pay the content owners or the distributors of the content. Second is advertising. So the maturity of all of this together is what drives the business in different markets. What we've seen is the US typically takes about 18 to 24 months to come into the European region, and then there's an 18 to 24 months to come into the Asia-Pac region. We see that similar change that's happening in the industry in terms of the maturity that's happening. India is no different. India has a lot more people, thanks to the telco infrastructure that we have. I think people watch boatloads of streaming today. Streaming is becoming mainstream in terms of the consumer preference, in terms of picking content, selecting content, and being able to watch content. The challenge in our country is really about the lagging indicator of advertising as a monetization model has not caught up to the level of viewership that we have. And this is very normal. It's not something specific to the country. We've seen it in other countries, the gap gets filled over years, and that's exactly what the country is also going through. What are learnings from, for example, in Brazil that we see, or even in Australia that we're seeing today from an APAC context, is that we're seeing ad-supported free content starting to get piped to television, starting to become bigger and bigger. I see the same world of things happening in India as well. It's already happening. It's grown almost 10 times over the last year, but we will continue to see that as a big progression as we move forward. So I'm quite hopeful about, I think India is a very interesting country in terms of availability of viewership, in terms of because we have lots of people and the young population is starting to really adopt streaming as a mechanism. Our telco fees are the lowest in the world. The only missing gap is the monetization mechanism. And I think that's getting filled as we move forward. And we're seeing that as a progression in the next 18 to 24 months. I think we'll see that also kind of build out. Monetization frameworks will get built out here as well.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. The rise of AI in media is transforming content management and monetization. How is Amagi integrating AI-driven solutions?
I think like every other business where AI is going to be a significant transformation engine, I think media is no different fundamentally. What we see from the vantage point of where Amagi lies today is we're looking at it as building an infrastructure, an AI as an infrastructure which is deeply embedded into the media operations of our customers.
Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12 in conversation with Baskar Subramanian, CEO and co-founder of Amagi. Baskar, you're also catering to over 800 brands across 150 geographies. How do you balance global expansion while maintaining high-quality service and localized solutions for diverse markets?
So goes back to the fundamental design of the system, fundamentally, right? So if you look at it, we cater to almost 150 plus countries today. And that means that's what I tell my team. It's every time is prime time somewhere across the globe at any point in time. This needed a lot of mechanisms in terms of building technology fabric that will allow for both personalization of content at individual geographic level and to an individual viewer level today, as we start moving towards that sort of direction, and be able to do it across hundreds of millions of subscribers that you're reaching to fundamentally at scale. It's been a journey for us. It didn't happen on day one. I think over the years, we built possibly the most sophisticated and the most advanced media cloud technology that's available. And that's what's driving the business today in terms of the core fabric of the technology and the resilience and the reliabilities that we built in, along with the personalization that we built in, is driving the business today for us, right? So that's been a very important part of the investments. The company is, as a technology company, invests heavily in R&D. We spend tens of millions of dollars every year building new mechanisms to make these systems and technology world-class. And we'll continue to invest on that going forward as well.
And well, as a follow-up, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs who want to expand globally?
If you look at it, it's a choice that entrepreneurs need to make, that would they want to build products for the globe. Truly, in this day and age, there is a possibility for every Indian company to build products for the whole world. And there are a couple of reasons. One is the maturity of the skill sets, the experience levels, and the enthusiasm and the confidence that we have in the country is driving a lot of progress that's available for us from a talent standpoint. The second thing that's advantageous today is the world is completely global in terms of connectivity. All customers worldwide are happy to buy good value software or technology or products from anywhere across the globe, and more so from India, because India is now considered to be a great place where technologies actually evolve. That was not the case 10 years back when we were actually starting to sell technology. But today, I don't think anybody tells us that, oh, you're coming from India. In fact, it's becoming an advantage that we're coming from India. So truly, I would recommend that every entrepreneur starts their business plan with assumption that they can build for the world and actually then start building it out. And because that allows you to think at scale, think differently in terms of trying to build all the capabilities that you need to be a global player. There is genuine right to win for us as an economy, as a country, to lead the world in some of these places. And truly, I think there's an opportunity for all of us. I would recommend every entrepreneur to think global initially, although start locally, but think global from day one.
Now, you also raised $109 million in 2020 at a valuation of $1.4 billion following a previous round that made Amagi a unicorn. How has this influx of capital shaped your growth strategy?
So largely at Amagi, if you look at it, it is a SaaS company. So typically, we are not very CapEx intensive, fundamentally as a company. So a lot of the capital that's coming in is primarily going for geo expansions, as well as for really building and beefing up new product lines for our customers. As you also know that we are very vertically focused only in the media and entertainment business, we truly try to provide as many solutions for our customers. So every television network in the world, we want them to be our customer, and we want them to be able to provide the best service and all the value add offerings that we can actually do. So we're very, very focused on our customers, and that's where the capital is going in terms of being able to invest into that and doing things. For example, capital is only one aspect of the problem. Obviously, knowing your customers, delivering value matters, but we've been extremely fortunate to be well capitalized as a company as we move into the next year as well.
Well, absolutely. Now, the rise of AI in media is transforming content management and monetization. How is Amagi integrating AI-driven solutions?
I think like every other business where AI is going to be a significant transformation engine, I think media is no different fundamentally. What we see from the vantage point of where Amagi lies today is we're looking at it as building an infrastructure, an AI as an infrastructure, which is deeply embedded into the media operations of our customers. So I'm not seeing that as an isolation. We will never have one single AI product. That's not the way we see it. We see it as a more of a platform strategy where every piece of our customer value chain, the workflow that they get involved in, where they're involved in getting things done, will become more productive, less cumbersome, lower cost, and higher monetization capabilities. All of that is the layer of intelligence that we feel will drive the progressiveness there of this particular ecosystem. We're truly excited at the place where we are, the investments we're making, as well as the vantage point of where Amagi is today in our customer ecosystem. We truly believe there's an opportunity for us to win this in the longer term as a company.
And well, finally, tell us, looking ahead, what's the next big milestone for Amagi, and how do you plan to drive continued innovation?
At Amagi, I think we are extremely fortunate of where we are from a vantage point, both from the place of progress where we are in India, as well as the global opportunity that's lying in front of us. If you look at it, we're in a very, very early phase of the media transformation. One of the big significant changes happening in the media industry, streaming is becoming mainstream for everybody. We believe the back-end factories are changing, and here is a genuine opportunity for a company like ours to come and out-innovate everybody else and actually build it out. That's the biggest progress. I think the next 5 to 7 years is going to be exciting as the video businesses are changing. Customers are becoming more and more agile and demanding. I think we truly believe the opportunity in front of us is going to be extremely big, and we continue to kind of execute. So for me, the value is in executing internally more than the market itself. We know we're in a very, very small piece of the market today, and we'll continue to expand on that front going forward.
It was lovely chatting with you, Baskar. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.